Can you be a first-time home buyer and get a USDA loan? Let's dive in.
The preacher man says it's the end of time and the Mississippi River she's...
Now, when it comes to USDA loans, there are a whole lot of moving parts to it. So I recommend if you're looking for a deep dive, check out this video I did. It's like about 15 minutes and I cover everything you need to know USDA. But when it comes specifically to being a first-time home buyer and using the USDA loan, that's what we're gonna talk about.
Giddy up.
Hey, and do me a huge favor, hit that like button, make sure to leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel so you get more content like this. So a question I get a lot is, can you be a first-time home buyer and use the USDA loan program? So let's first start with what the definition of being a first-time home buyer actually is, because it's not really what it sounds like. So the definition of a first-time home buyer is that you have not owned a primary residence over the last 3 years, meaning that the place that you lived in, you cannot have owned it over the last 3 years. But that means that like 4 years ago, you could have owned a home and sold it, or maybe 4 years ago, you owned that house and you turned it into a rental property. And you still own it, but you've been renting your primary residence for the last 3 years. Well, by definition, you, my friend, are a first-time home buyer. Which isn't what it really sounds like. First-time homebuyer really sounds like you've never owned a home. That's not the case. So when it comes to USDA and first-time homebuyers, absolutely be a first-time homebuyer.
Oh, thank God.
And in fact, what a great program to use for being a first-time homebuyer. Why? Well, with USDA, you can do 100% financing. The only other program out there that offers 100% financing without using down payment assistance is the VA home loan. And unless you're a veteran, you can't use that.
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
So the USDA loan is a great way for a first-time home buyer to become a homeowner, because the biggest barrier to entry to homeownership is coming up with that down payment. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, USDA has a whole bunch of nuances to it, a lot of special rules that are not applicable in other types of financing. So again, if you're looking for a deep dive, check out the video that I did. It covers everything you need to know USDA. I linked it in the description below. But as far as some quick things that you need to know about being a first-time home buyer, buying a house using USDA, here's some quick things that you need to know. First off, it has to be your primary residence. You can't buy a second home. You can't buy a rental property. You can't buy a multi-unit property and do the whole house hack thing where I bought a duplex where I'm renting out one and I'm living in the other. Sorry, that doesn't work with this. You're gonna be limited to how much money you can make. They call it an income limit, and it's 115% of the median area income. But here's the thing, with USDA, we're talking household income.
Welcome to my house.
Household income, it's very, very specific. Again, check out my deep dive video for it, but household is not necessarily what you think it is. Now, when it comes to credit scores, most lenders are gonna want a minimum of a 620 FICO. However, as a mortgage broker, I've got access to lots of lenders and I work with some that go down to 550.
Oh, really?
Now, your debt ratios are gonna ultimately be decided by a computer algorithm called GUS. But in general, the USDA loan is very flexible when it comes to their credit standards. Again, you get to do 100% financing, and this is basically a great way to buy a house in a rural community and put no money down.
Alrighty then.
If you're interested in USDA financing and you'd like to talk to me and my team, you can get a hold of us. Contact info's in the description below. And if you haven't already, do me a huge favor, tap that like button, make sure to leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video.